Welcome to the Monday Monologue. Well, today I want to talk about this channel, myself, what we're doing here, and why you may or may not find my audio advice relevant to your situation. First of all, and I've said this before, I'm going to say this again. I am not a professionally trained electrical engineer. I don't have a, college educated background in electronics. This is all self-taught. Picked this up as a hobby. I enjoy doing this kind of thing. I enjoy learning about stuff. I've read quite a few books on this stuff. I've taken to experimenting with this stuff myself to hear the differences in things. And I think I have a fairly good grasp on generally how all these parts interact with each other, but I'm not an expert. But I do feel like that there's some things that I've kind of stumbled upon that maybe are obvious to other people that I've been able to convey through my channel to folks, maybe in a way that's easier to understand and avoiding a lot of the really complicated engineering language that really isn't necessary to understand at least the basic concepts about what's going on. Secondly, I don't listen to music at high sound pressure levels. I don't know exactly the decibels. I haven't set a meter in my room and listened to it, but it's probably 90 decibel range or less. I'm not listening to music cranked to 11. Not listening to like AC/DC or, metal or even really hard rock like Guns N' Roses and that kind of stuff. Rarely listen to that kind of music. I listen to music more as a close my eyes and meditate and get my mind off of my worries and the world in general and where we're at today, and find music as a good escape. And I thought that maybe if I share some of the music that I've really enjoyed listening to over the last few months, that you kind of get an idea of, the kind of music I listen to and why I like things like these 300B tube amps. And I do feel like that there's a place for, these ultralinear push-pull amps, that's a whole different kind of listening experience. But anyway, let's jump into some of the music that I like, and hopefully some of you can check these out. Finding some of these on vinyl may end up being super difficult. And let me slide this over out of our way so I can show you these vinyl a little easier. Hugo Cant, Out of Time. I had a really hard time finding this on vinyl. Actually, a music store in Germany had a copy of this. And this is some really super cool, different music. There's, especially the first side of, I think it's album 1, is super, super cool. And I'm kind of forcing myself to listen to side B because I know that that's something cool too. And I'm learning that a lot of times if I listen to music that maybe I don't appreciate on the first round, that it's kind of an acquired taste sort of thing, and you start understanding why they created that too. So check this out, especially the Earth Dance and Clouds. Those two songs are just, man, they're good. Hugo's really got it going on. So there's the first one. Here's an oldie but a goodie, Traffic. Low Spark of High Heel Boys. I tried a new release of this and it sounded like garbage. And so I hunted down a first pressing and it sounds much, much better. This doesn't have the clarity that I'm kind of used to with like those Blue Note albums and some of the other kind of I don't know, it's almost like in the recording studio, the mix was kind of muted sounding, but the music still comes through. And this is a really fun album to listen to. Again, don't waste your money on the 180 gram new releases. They sound terrible. Hunt down an old first edition, or at least a earlier pressing of this album. But this is a really fun one to listen to. And that's kind of my rockish album that I listen to, if that gives you a clue. Earl Klugh. And I pronounced his name wrong the other day, calling him Klug, but it's Klugh. Thanks to the viewers that corrected me on that. Whispers and Promises. This is just a really fun album. It's not what I would call serious music, but he just really has fun with this. And I enjoy listening to this. And I will say the Master of Suspense on this LP is the main song that I listen to when I'm critiquing hi-fi gear. The first minute of that track has got some really cool sound effect kind of music in it that you can hone in on the effect that's in that sound to differentiate different gear. And if they can really recreate like the hollow sound of the drum hit, or the sparkly sound of the little swoosh sound, it's really good for trying different things with your amplifiers or your systems and critiquing them. So not only is this fun to listen to, it's a good tool for critiquing audio gear. Next, Don Wilkerson, Preach Brother. This recent release, which is on Amazon, and the ones that are on Amazon on new releases, I'm going to link in the description. This was not available for a long time, and the only copies of it were stupid expensive. And recently, Blue Note re-released it. It's got Grant Green, one of my favorite guitar players, on it. It's got Sonny Clark, who's also really good. I just got S's for Sonny, which I haven't heard yet. Of course, Don's kicking butt on this. It just a bunch of great people on it. This is really musical jazz. Some of the jazz, to me, starts getting into this avant-garde kind of, it just almost sounds like they're just playing notes, and there's no, like, song there. Where this is got music, a song that you can follow along to, and it's just really fun music to listen to. Okay, here's another oldie but a goodie. The Charlie Brown Christmas. And this was done really, really well. And this is also a case where the vinyl sounds really, really good. The first copy of this I got was on a CD, and it sounds like absolute garbage. And obviously, the audio that's on the TV show has been dumbed down through, the video process. The vinyl really has what this music sounds like. And, this came out when I was a kid. We always watched it at Christmas, so it brings back memories, and it's just really fun music to listen to as well for me. Okay. Rachel and Vilray. Got this again. It was on a kind of esoteric website. They mainly have like download links. You can buy the MP3s, or they sell CDs. I'm not even sure if they still got the vinyl available. I bought it on a CD originally, which the CD sounds good, but obviously the vinyl is like the next level. And it's a fun couple. She's got a fantastic voice. He's got a good harmony that fits in with it. It's that kind of smoky cigar bar kind of jazz that it's just fun, and it's nice to listen to, and it's just really relaxing. So check this out. Picked this up last week. This was a sealed copy of a 1970 release from Blue Note of Grant Green and his Grant Stand. I'm not sure if this is available, in a new production, if it's been re-released since then. I felt lucky that I didn't realize when I bought it that it was actually a sealed copy of it. And this sounds freaking amazing. And this was, some of Grant Green's best, I think. And I've got several of his albums. So if you've never sat down and listened to Grant, I really like that Kenny Burrell kind of hollow guitar sound. And Grant freaking nails it on this album. Here's another oldie but a goodie. The Beatles' Abbey Road. I haven't listened to this in decades. And I'm not a huge Beatles fan. I listened to the White Album recently and just didn't really care for it. Listened to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, just didn't care for it. And some of Rubber Soul, I've tried some of those. This one, to me, is, at least in my opinion, for my music taste, this knocks it out of the park. There's so many great songs on here. The music's fun. The songs are fun. It's really light and easy to listen to. It probably brings back some memories from my youth as well, but Abbey Road is definitely one that you need to have in your collection. Deanna Krall. What is this one? This is Turn Up the Quiet. She's got, of course, several good LPs, but this one is really good. If you don't have any of her stuff, pick this one up. It's a really her voice is very unique. It's got, again, that kind of smoky, jazz lounge kind of sound to it. It can just transport you to another place listening to this, especially if you've got a really nice system. So it definitely will tax your turntable and your cartridge to really pull the smoothness of her voice out. And so it's another good test for a system. If her voice sounds nice and clear and smooth, then you got your turntable set up good. So, next. Coherent Audio just came out with this one. Kirsten Adkins, never heard of her. The recording quality on this is just over the top. And Coherent Studios has just set up a new studio using all tube gear. It's using the old school mic the room, not the instruments or the people. And you can really hear it in this recording. She's really fun. This is a fun album to listen to. And again, the audio quality is just out of this world. Kevin's just killing it on these new recordings. He's done a lot of the remastering on these Blue Note re-releases, but he kills it with this one. And they made the first batch sold out real quick. I caught the second wave of releases of this. I'm sure they still have them out there. Pick one of these up. This is going to be a classic. This is another Blue Note reissue, Dexter Gordon. I really like Dexter. I've got probably a dozen of his albums, or at least half a dozen anyway. And this is probably one of my favorites out of the bunch. This is a double LP set, so you get hours of listening. It just is really great music. He's playing with, Freddie Hubbard. He's playing with, Paul Chambers, all these really great musicians partnered up with Dexter, and it's just really great jazz music. So, if you've never listened to Dexter, cue one of these up. I'm pretty sure there's several different copies on Amazon right now, and again, I'll link them below, the ones that they do have available. The modern releases of these Blue Note albums are, to me, just fantastic sounding. Just like the originals were. And I don't think you're going to go wrong getting a new release. And then last, I just was introduced to Eva Cassidy. And I don't know where I've been for the last 25 years, but somehow I was in the dark about her and her voice. OMG, if you have never heard her sing, this performance live at Blues Alley is just, it's incredible. And the mixing on it is so well done. A lot of times the live albums that are at these nightclubs, there's too much of the audience. And it's like in the middle of the song, you can hear drink glasses clinking and people murmuring, and it's distracting. There's none of that. There's a little bit at the start. You can hear the people clapping, and they quickly just turn the mic down on the room and focus on her and the band she's playing with. Not only is her voice incredible, the people that are playing with her are incredible. And this is just, if you don't have a copy of this, you need to get it. This 25th anniversary is 2 discs. You get about 3 songs a side, and it's 45 RPMs. And so, obviously there's not as much as you would get on 233. Well, they have a 7 album set that's also recorded at 45 RPM. And I've got one of those on the way. It's probably got some repeats of what's on this one. I'm not sure. Can't speak to that. I don't know if this was recorded on the same night as this other one or not. But this impressed me so much. I got her album Songbird. I also bought that 7-disc set of this live recording. And I'm still just blown away at how amazing her voice sounds and how well these were recorded for somebody at the time who was totally unknown. And I'm not going to repeat her story. It was kind of a sad story, but she left a lasting legacy to the world with her gift. And so I'll just leave it at that. So the last thing I was going to comment on is one of my favorite kind of rock albums of all time is Santana Abraxas. And it's really hard to find a good recording of that. The reissues are junk. The first side is okay. The second side sounds horrible. I mean, it's just like it's like it wasn't even recorded by the same people, and I don't know what happened. I'm assuming just bad mastering, could be just bad pressings. I don't know what the deal is. That was a waste of money. I did some research, and everybody's saying that the first pressings are the best. The ones, OG from 1970. So I found what's supposed to be a good condition one of those on the way, so I can talk about that. And, once I get to listen to that, I can kind of go over maybe in a future video about, don't buy the first edition of this, but buy the second, or buy the reissue. Which stuff sounds garbage on CD, but it sounds great on vinyl, and that sort of thing, because there is a lot of that out there. And I didn't realize how much the mastering mattered until I started getting into some really quality gear that you could hear the differences. So anyway, the main purpose of this video was so that when you hear me talking about stuff and I'm saying, this sounds better, or I like the way this sounds, you know what kind of music I'm listening to on it, and I don't have the volume to 11 with ear-bleeding sound pressure levels. And so if you're into that, and you really like to crank up some rock and roll and stuff, this probably isn't the gear you want to be using. And honestly, I'm probably not going to ever really get into reviewing and stuff, that kind of gear, because that's not the way I listen to music. And I think it's important when you listen to different influencers or YouTubers or whatever, that you know how they listen to music and see if it aligns with the way you listen to music and the kinds of music you like, because that can impact whether their reviews apply to you or not. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you're enjoying the content on my channel. If you are, please subscribe. Please like the video. Thanks to you Patreon folks. Thanks to you folks that send me gear to review for the channel and people that make donations. That helps me afford to do these fun new projects. And we'll see you on the next Monday Monologue.